Okay, welcome to a tutorial on how to create races in Sailaway. First of all, go to sailawaysimulator.com and then onto the race creation. I would download the guide here and you can come on to create a race on this icon here. You might need to make sure that you have proper login. If you need to reset your login user information, you can do that. So after downloading or looking at the race creation guide, which is a Google Doc, this step-by-step guide is exactly the same as, I don't think any additions have been made since I was during the NDA, the testing period of this race creation tool. I believe that there may be still one or two small bugs with it. One bug that I've had was when I put a race that was very close to 00 UTC and it couldn't be found, or the time kept on saying that it was prior to the time it actually was, local time. One of the other things that it doesn't do is when you want to rotate the course to the wind, it doesn't actually do it in testing mode. I believe that it does actually do it when you publish the race though. So let's get into the Sailaway event organizer. There's a screen before this that is basically just your login. So in the screen here, we've got the three races that I have created: the Rolex Sydney to Hobart, the Martha's Vineyard, which I had to redo. Both of these are published, so the whole world can see it. This 2 nautical mile test was done for the Sydney to Hobart, so I could get the handicaps right. Because it wasn't published, only I could do the race. Other people couldn't see it. In fact, if I look in it now, it's already past time anyway. I can still adjust the start time and the start date and save the changes and be able to go and continue to test on this. So let's try and think about adding a new event. The first things that you probably want to do is to actually go to Windy and determine where and when you want your race. I'm basing this race off of New Zealand at the moment because we have this nice tropical cyclone or low pressure system giving us some pretty good wind. I like to create races where there's a bit of landscape and a little bit of thought for the sailors. I also like to make sure that there's plenty of upwind and not as much downwind or beam reaching, but really it's up to you. Today I'm just going to show you the process that I would go through to do this. So first of all, look at Windy, and then I would think about location, and I would just jump around. At the moment I'm off of New Zealand, up in the South Island, up in the north here, and I've quickly just plotted out some waypoints that I think would be interesting. We've got an upwind, and then a beam, and then another upwind, a bit of a downwind, and then another upwind to the end. The good thing about doing this is that I can actually have a look and the system will actually tell me how many miles. So I've got about 5 miles. So this is a 5-mile race. So probably going to be doing about 10 knots. So it's going to be about a 30-minute course, which is important. We can come back to thinking about scale in a while. There are a number of tools that you can use to do this. The first one being something like, where is it? MB ruler, which is pretty handy. If what I can do is I can drag this over and set it up and determine how far each thing is, looking at the scale and coming back. I can also look at angles if I wanted to. I can do reverse angles or just look at angles. Anyway, that's not really necessary, but it's, if you are doing a race that is a small race, you're probably going to be having to think about angles a lot more. With longer races, it's pretty easy to plot. You just need to look out for depth measurements and think about, you know, how the sailors will, or how the boats will go around the course. So with this short leg here, as I said, upwind first. So we've got a 5 nautical mile course, and what we want to do is we first of all want to think about having a start line. So I would zoom all the way in, and I would make something like that. And is that going to be good enough? I could might move this over a bit. So that will be fine. You can put this back in the middle here so I know how the wind angle is. I would then have a look at how the wind is oscillating. Now this is probably not a great course, just in the fact that I've got islands and it's terrible weather today. But I like my competitors to have a little bit of a think about how they're going to get through here. Probably a little bit too dangerous for real racing. And then coming back here, I've got an angle which I've tested out, and I've got an island through the middle. So on one side you can either be on a Kodo, on the other side you can be on a Jenica. So I'm thinking about just getting that angle which is pretty close to on the border between Jenica and Kodo. Why am I doing that? Because I want guys to make a choice and, you know, and think about it as they make the turn. What are they going to do? And then once again, almost in parallel, well actually probably a little bit more, I can go down a bit more parallel to this first upwind. We've got this, and then a much longer downwind, and then an upwind again. So it's going to be a fairly challenging and course, and also, you know, it's going to be quick. So people have to be challenged by something quickly. I also like, you know, a figure 8 course. Figure 8 courses are very good, and some of the ones that Disco Infidel does, which are up and back, just along the wind line, they're really interesting as well, because there's a lot of tacking, and then you get a long downwind, and then a lot of tacking again, and then a long downwind again. Kind of interesting sort of courses. So you can be as creative as you want with this, but make sure that you test it before you publish it. All right, so we have these points here. So what are we going to do? Well, let's come back to how to create. Sorry, where is it? Here it is. So I'm going to add a new event, and the name of my race, I don't know, New Zealand. Where are we off? Cone Point. To Island Point. That'll be good enough. I can give a short description here. Short 5 nautical mile course. Plenty of sail changing. I could also click and drag an image here if I wanted to. So if I go back to my desktop, do that for a second. Yeah, Disappointment Cove. I could click and put that there, or what I could do is to go new and then something like that. And can I then, no, I'd have to save it. File, save as, put it on my desktop, so capture that. So if I come back to this, capture, put in. Alright, done. All boat models? No, I hate all boat models. So mini transit, definitely for this. It's a short course and you don't want to do that. I want to disable auto raise and reef. I do not want people to be doing that. I don't want auto trim, auto sheets. I don't want a helping hand, and I don't want to rotate the course to the wind. Now, as I said to you before, rotate course to the wind doesn't work in testing mode, and certainly when I'm this close to land, I definitely do not want to make it. Read this as well. Make sure that the first leg points north. Okay, it will be rotated to the wind direction. So if I was actually going to use this, and what I would do is I would have the whole course pointed this way, so the first leg would go that way, and then wherever else I wanted it to go. So you would have your start down here, and then the first leg would point directly north. Okay, and then if you ticked this box here, it would then rotate it properly. And no, option should not be used with, you might have boys, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so start date, 20th of 2nd, UTC, actually, it's because it's very close to, I'm going to do that and change it to 5 hours from now. Oh, actually make it an hour from now. And so we have all of this done. So save those changes. Invalid start time. Maybe it needs 01. Let's start that. See, this is the bug I was talking about. Alright, so that worked. Then we go and edit our course. Alright, so we need the latitude and longitude of the port start line and start line. So we've got to think about back in this. So we have port and starboard. Okay. So port on our, as we are pointing towards it. So what we need to do is we need to take note of the numbers down on this bottom line here. So we have -40.9125 and 173.7531. I use a pen and paper and I jot down these numbers. What you could do, if you really wanted to, is to have it side by side in windowed mode. Oops. And think about how far your distance is going to be. So that's probably not long enough. Maybe just pull that out a little bit. Pull that out a little bit. That should be fine. So we're looking at about 0.1, 0.2 of a nautical mile there. So it's not very long, but as it's a mini transit race, we can deal with that. So looking at these numbers down the bottom here, pen and paper, and jotting down each of these waypoint coordinates, sorry. And my map has gone a little funny there, probably because I'm flipping between the two. What I do is I can come over to my editor here and I can start putting in the details. So the first one for the port is like that, 49220. So if I come up here, let me just show you. Okay, so 40.9122. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong numbers. 122, and the longitude would be 173.75. See, every time I move off, I have to come back. This is why it's best to make sure that you've got it right. So 75, I'm going to make it 34. 34, good. And then our starboard point will be minus 40.9139, and over here 173.7523. Okay, so 7523, yeah, it's close enough. 7522, it's not that much difference. So we've already, our port stub, we've done up the first one, starboard, this one here. Okay, so I've started putting in some numbers, and what you need to do is to get more than one of these options available for you. You need to put in the start and the finish first. So I put in the start and finish, and then what you do is you put in the other details that you need to do, which I will do as I'm doing now. Yeah, I've already put it in once before, so didn't. 178, 173.7726. Let's see the whole system. Good. Alright, so save changes, opens up a new one. So we've done this, the port starboard, we've done the first, come to the second one here, down here, take the number, and this one here is going to be counterclockwise. It is going to be save the changes, which allows us to have a new one. So I'll just go through and get to all of these. I'm up to this next one here. So I'll just go through, and this one here is going to be a clockwise again, and I'll finish this course up. Okay, so I believe that I've put in all of the correct coordinates. So now it's time to actually go and have a look. I'll go back to the parent, save changes. Okay, and now I can come to Sailaway and go to activities, races, player created races, and here it is here. So put it in. Yes, I do want to switch. I was in my 52. teleport to the start. And there we go. Our course ready to go. If I want to, I would practice the course. And check to see that everything is correct. So looking through, clockwise, counterclockwise, clockwise, counterclockwise to the finish. So back here in Sailaway Event Organizer, everything's right. What I can do is I can either make it public, I can edit the course again, so I can edit the course on the fly, change these things and resave it, go back to the parent and save changes again, and once I drop out of the race and go back into the race again, the changes will be there automatically. They happen on the fly, so you can do it pretty quickly. Just watch out for this UTC time. As you saw, I had a little bit of a problem there. Otherwise, it's just a matter of thinking about where you want to put your course, creating it in Sailaway, and making sure that you get the right coordinate system down. Making sure that when you do edit your course, that you put in the start and the finish first, and that every time you put it in, you make sure that you've got one of these boys done before you save the changes, and that will give you the option for the next leg. Otherwise, good luck with it, and if you have any questions, please ask.